The Turning Point from 1977 is one of my favorite movies. The Turning Point featured dance segments from big-name ballet stars of the 1970s, including Mikhail Baryshnikov, Suzanne Farrell, Peter Martins, Fernando Bujones. This video provides commentary on two Baryshnikov solos, his Ali variation from Le Corsaire and the Basilio Act III variation from Don Quixote. His solos reveal unique steps done with rare athleticism and command that have stood the test of time. After training at the prestigious Vaganov Academy in Leningrad, Baryshnikov joined the Kirov Ballet, now Mariinsky Ballet, in 1967. Seeking artistic freedom and the opportunity to work with more diverse choreographers, he defected while the Bolshoi Ballet was on tour in Toronto in 1974 when he was 26 years of age. Baryshnikov's defection was big news, and he enjoyed a high public profile from the start in the U.S., up there with fellow Soviet defector Rudolf Nureyev. Solidifying his place in popular culture was the movie The Turning Point, in which he portrayed a Soviet defector and ballet superstar. He received an Oscar nomination for Best Male Actor in a Supporting Role. The dance sequences show Baryshnikov in his prime at age 29. His variations reveal his rare athleticism and bravura combined with stellar technique, refined through years of Russian training. One caveat: his variations were not from live performances and were likely the result of numerous takes. Also, solos could have been spliced together from a number of attempts of particular segments. Even with this caveat, Baryshnikov's solos are extraordinary. Before release of the movie, he told the New York Times that filming the dance sequences was grueling because we often worked from 6 in the morning until 9 at night. That meant being warmed up all day long in order to be 100% ready. This was hard and a great responsibility because the film will probably be seen by thousands of people, and one had to be in top form. Baryshnikov's Ali Corsair variation has several innovative segments that I have not seen since. Take a look at the 1-minute solo, and I will be back with commentary breaking down the steps. Baryshnikov starts his variation with a Corsair saut de basque, a common step in this and the Bronze Idol solo from La Bayadère. The step has the same mechanics as a classic saut de basque, but with both knees bent instead of one. The dancer starts from the downstage corner and does a series on a diagonal, each landing in a lunge after 1 1/2 turns. The basics of the step is not that difficult, but getting it as big, precise, and coordinated as Baryshnikov, particularly the height and timing of the arm positions, is the difficult part. Many dancers attempting this miss some aspect or another. After running downstage, he does 2 turn series. The first is something that Baryshnikov did often: turns in second position to attitude turns, foot bent behind him, turning into turns in retiré, foot to the knee. He also did this in his Don Quixote at Wolf Trap and ABT Don Quixote DVDs. Here his arms are in a stylized Ali form with hand to the shoulder. He then does an extremely difficult turn, one that I have not seen much: pirouettes in plié. He does 7 turns, but with some in plié, difficult because the plié weakens the support leg. He does 3 regular pirouettes, but at the end of his 3rd pirouette, he bends his support leg in plié. Turns 4 through 7 are done with a bent supporting leg as he pops up to finish. Doing 7 pirouettes is very difficult. Doing 7 turns with some in plié is off the charts difficult, an exceptional display of athleticism. American Ballet Theater's Angel Correa also did these turns in the same role in his turns in second series. Let me know in the comment section if you have seen this step before. He next does a unique manège, which is a series in a circle, shot with a camera from the center of the stage. Baryshnikov's stellar vertical jump and technique allowed him to do a lot in the air, creating many "that was great, but what is it?" moments, even for experienced ballet fans. This is one of those steps as Baryshnikov departs from the norm in a series of steps that I have not seen before. Possibly it was created for the film. Note how he eats up the stage, traveling substantially on the manège, with a driving superhuman quality. He starts out with an arabesque, followed by a space-eating coupe, followed by a preparation that usually precedes a barrel turn. However, he does a revoltade, a step in which the dancer places one leg in the air and then gives the impression of jumping over it with the other leg landing on the takeoff leg. This is a complicated step with a lot going on, so let's focus on his lower and upper body separately. For his lower body, Baryshnikov takes off from his right leg, lifts his left leg, and jumps over with his right, landing on the right leg. To make the step unique, he bends his right leg as it jumps over his left. As is standard for Baryshnikov, he uses his stellar vertical jump to get high off the ground, adding to the breathtaking nature of the step. Now focus on his upper body. His right arm aggressively sweeps up as if to go into a barrel turn. This gives him momentum into his jump. After he is airborne, his right arm quickly sweeps through to a first arabesque position in front. His left arm also goes up before the leap to provide lift, but then settles into a stylized Corsair pose upon landing. He repeats this segment 3 times. A simple revoltade should not be a problem for any professional dancer, but this complex and breathtaking variation by Baryshnikov is truly an outstanding addition to the canon of jumps available for dancers. He finishes with another funky step, a jeté entrelacé but with a turn. He goes into the air as if to do a standard jeté entrelacé, which is a jump from one foot to another with a half turn. He goes off his left foot with a non-standard bent right leg. Rather than coming down, he does another turn as his legs switch and hit a V position to the corner high off the ground. His arms go overhead and his momentum takes him to a standard landing position. Upon landing, he quickly does a half turn to the knee to finish the variation. I could find only one other Baryshnikov version of the Ali variation on YouTube, an undated pirate version with Kelsey Kirkland. This variation does not include the turns and plie or the revoltade manège, but consisted of more standard steps. The next solo is from Don Quixote, which is the finale of the movie. Take a look at his first solo, and I will be back with comments. Baryshnikov's Act III, Basilio variation consists of standard steps, but is noteworthy for its athleticism. He starts out with a step called a saut de basque en dedans, a step off his left leg with 1.5 inward turns, landing on his left leg. Note his great height and stellar technique with straight legs, nicely pointed feet. After transition steps, he shows off his powerful turning capabilities with pirouettes away from his supporting leg. He does 6 turns, followed by 3 turns in arabesque. 3 things to note that are characteristic of his turns. First, he takes off from a very wide 4th position, almost in 2nd position. I have seen many Russian-trained dancers with this characteristic. Second, note his very wide carriage of his arms that narrow as his turns progress. Third, Baryshnikov has a very tight retardé position, foot to the knee, that is not highly turned out. He had substantial turnout, but for some reason chose not to use his turnout to the fullest extent on his turns. His turns in arabesque and plie are smooth, with a stylized flamenco-style arm position. Next, he powers through 9 pirouettes as he lowers his working leg as his turns progress and his arms transition from a standard arm carriage to a stylized Don Quixote position. This is a robust turn sequence done with great command. He confidently heads to the corner for his diagonal pass. From the corner, he does a double tour in retiré to a double turn in arabesque with a chassé preparation. On the turn, he leaves his right arm overhead with the other on his hip as he does the turn in low arabesque to facilitate the speed of the turn. He also did this step in the cups solo in Don Quixote in Act II from the ABT production. That was the focus of my previous video. Note the great precision and purpose on each of his steps. After a double tour, he does 6 strong pirouettes to a double tour to the knee with great pizzazz and bravura, a thrilling finish, onto the coda. Baryshnikov does a coupe grand jeté manège with a turn in attitude. The camera angles are compelling, highlighting this stellar series. Note his great height and sure technique. A curious feature of Baryshnikov's dancing is that he preferred to turn clockwise on his pirouettes, but counterclockwise on his manège series. Baryshnikov finishes with the same step he did in Corsair, a jeté entrelacé with an extra turn. Great height and technique before dramatically going to the knee. On to the final turn section. After Leslie Brown as Kitri finishes her fouette turns, Baryshnikov follows with a double pirouette in second position, followed by a double turn in attitude with an interesting floor camera shot. He repeats this 4 times. His attitude position is very wide as his knee is never completely behind him, a compromise necessitated by the difficulty of the turn. At the end, he pulls in from his attitude turn to retiré for a total of 7 turns. This is an extremely difficult turn series that I have not seen him repeat, evidence that he probably enjoyed the benefit of multiple takes. In the Live at Wolf Trap performance from 1977 and the ABT Don Quixote from 1983 DVDs, he did a series of single turns in second position ending with multiple turns in second to a plié and multiple turns in retiré. Baryshnikov's variations in the turning point are stunning, showing him in his prime at his best. His solos reveal unique steps done with rare athleticism and command that have stood the test of time. His endless turns with creative variants and high leaps are astonishing. Few, if any, dancers 40 years later can match his technical abilities and dynamic stage presence. For more detail on Baryshnikov's dancing, check out my previous video, which analyzes his Don Quixote cups and his Albrecht from Giselle variations. Thanks for tuning in.